Hi there Star Wars collectors, and welcome to another Bossk's Bounty video, and welcome to episode 6 of Finish the 96. This is the series where I go through all of the original carded Kenner figures and pick out the ones that Hasbro still need to release in the modern vintage collection. As always, if you are new to this series, you may want to go back to the first episode where I explain in a little more detail what the original 96 was and also what I'm using as a point of reference. For everyone watching that has viewed the previous episodes, you will know that we ended episode 5 on the white Bespin guard. Once again, a big thank you to Gianni from Red 5 Designs for this awesome image of the full 96 figures, and also to John for the card back concept images. You can find him on Instagram at The Vintage Concepts. Okay, with all that being said, if you happen to enjoy the video, please click the thumbs up button and we'll move straight on to Zuckuss. Now, I'm sure most of you are aware of the name change between Zuckuss and Forlom. Hasbro actually paid homage to this in the form of a Bounty Hunter 2-pack. This pack was available at Celebration 5 and featured both Forlom and Zuckuss on foil cards with the names the correct way round, or the wrong way round depending on when you were born. But for argument's sake, let's call them by their modern corrected names. We have already had Forlom in the main line, he was VC10, however we are yet to see Zuckuss. There are a couple of options here and you can let me know in the comments which you prefer. Hasbro could repack the 2009 Legacy Collection Zuckuss. This version sports the dark brown soft goods, which would be more accurate to the source material. Or they could repack the version from the 2-pack, which is a much lighter colour, and this is supposed to mimic the vintage Kenner figure. Whichever they go with, we do need the Zuckuss card back in the main line without the foil chase to go towards finishing the 96. Next on the list are Darth Vader, the Cloudcar Pilot and Forlom, which all three exist in the vintage collection already, so we move on to Yoda. Now, Yoda has been revealed as a pipeline figure, so I only really want to talk about the card back. I'm sure Hasbro will probably go with the original Empire Strikes Back card, but it is my hope that they also release him on his alternate card. They could release it as some sort of chase variant, very much like they did with those foil card backs back in TVC 1.0. I've made a video about alternate image card backs before, and to me it would be a fun thing for Hasbro to do, and wouldn't affect collectors who open their figures. From what I know, the figure will be a repack of the figure included in the Cave of Evil 3-pack. Next up is Luke Skywalker in his X-Wing pilot and the Death Star droid, both of which we now have in the vintage collection. So we move on to Bossk. The most recent figure was released in the Vintage Saga collection back in 2007. We also saw him repacked a few times, once in the Saga Legends line, and he was also included in the Special Action Figure 3-pack alongside IG-88 and the Hoth Stormtrooper. The figure itself is a great Bossk, no two ways about it, but it could be improved upon with a few small modifications. First off, I feel the figure would benefit from having ball hinged hips, but most of all he could really do with hinges at the wrist. The Black Series version of this figure does have both of those, and also when they do revisit Bossk, I do hope that they improve the straps on his legs of his flight suit, because they do easily split. As you can imagine, I cannot wait for an updated version of this figure in the vintage collection. Next up is R2-D2, which again we already have, albeit a dirtied up version, so we move on to Luke Skywalker, or Farm Boy Luke. Like a few other figures, this isn't the first time we have seen this Luke on a vintage style card in the modern line. He was released in 2004 in the Vintage Original Trilogy collection, and boy does this figure need updating. For me, they need an all new sculpt, completely new figure from the ground up. There have been a few versions over the years that have nearly got it right, but in my opinion we are still waiting for the definitive Luke Skywalker in his farm boy outfit. Not only that, this is another figure that had an alternate card back in the Kenner days, commonly known as the Gunner Luke card. Now this is one of my all-time favourite card backs, and like the Yoda that I discussed earlier, I feel Hasbro need to release this, whether it be a variant of some sort or as a different figure completely with the correct accessories for that point in the movie. At this moment I really don't care. First and foremost, we need an all new Luke farm boy, but it would be nice if Hasbro made collecting these things fun and realised that we do need the alternate image. Moving on to the AT-AT driver, and again one of my favourite card backs from the original Kenner run. This is another figure that needs updating. Previous versions have come close, but none are definitive in my opinion. The 2006 Saga Collection version is a good looking figure, but lacks the required articulation. The 2009 Legacy Collection version, which was also repacked in the Special Action Figure 3-pack, has most of the required articulation, but in my opinion isn't as accurate. Mainly due to the helmet, which because it's removable is ever so slightly oversized. In 2015, Hasbro released a 5 POA version on the Saga Legends Rebels card back, which looks pretty decent. Maybe they could use this as a base, similar to the Rogue One Stormtrooper. Whatever they do, we need this classic card back in the line. Next on the list is Han Solo, Bespin and Mr. Smooth himself, Lando Calrissian. We now have both of these thanks to the most recent release of Lando, which is now the definitive version and well worth picking up. So we move on to the final figure to be featured in this episode, and that is C-3PO with removable limbs and cargo net. Hasbro have attempted this figure a few times in the past, all of which are average to awful. We need an all new C-3PO of the standard of the Black Series with interchangeable parts so that the figure can be displayed as a fully operational 3PO and one that has been blown to bits. All the pieces should be able to fit into the cargo net and be carried by one of our many Chewbacca figures. They've done it in the Black Series with that awesome 2-pack, so we do need a 3.75 inch 3PO with removable limbs in the vintage collection. Okay then guys, that's the next 5 figures covered, 6 if you include Yoda, who we know is being released sometime next year. Be sure to check out the rest of the series if you haven't already. Thank you to my channel members and Patreons. Links to those are in the description below. Thank you all so much for watching, and we shall see you on the next one.